Alright, Chapter 24, CAD Standards Advanced Layers. You will learn in this chapter what is CAD standard, how to create a DWS file, configure it and check it, what layers filters, what layers state managers, what is layer state managers, what advanced functions to control layers. Why do you need a CAD standard? Since the process of getting larger, the more complex company for the Autocad, any other software package vaccine with the CAD manufacturers, what they are. Who these people are over the CAD manager, lots for the responsibility, but among them the produce the dimension text layer within systems. Autocad is offering a tool to help the CAD manager produce the CAD standard files, linking them with the drawing files, and then make sure that they do not violate any of the standards. The process of creating standard files, lengthy and encompassing the following steps. Finding international standard, create your own, sit with all the parties whom will be affected without the new standard, try to get their input. Stakeholders, put a standard on the paper first, getting approval of all stakeholders. Creating a standard file with the AutoCAD, put it into test, taking feedback from users, making the correct steps needed, putting the standard in use, monitoring the outcome before the tool is introduced with the AutoCAD CAD Manager to check the adherence of the standard file with manually use the random check method. But now CAD Manager has the ability to check several files at a time, and another tool with the layer translator, which will map layers into the current file to compare with another file, finding the match and mismatch, allowing you to correct any of the layers' names. How to create a CAD standard file. To create a CAD standard file, wildcard DWS, make the following steps. Open the drawing file containing the desired layer dimension styles, text styles, and line types, or you can create a new file using the template file containing the or above. Go to the application menu, select Save As the AutoCAD Drawing Standards options. You'll see the following dialog box. As you can see, AutoCAD will give you the file extension of the DWS automatically. Input with the name of the new standard within file. Click the Save button. The process will take place only once. How to link with the DWS to the drawing file, then make the check. After you create the DWS file, you perform two more steps to configure the link with the drawing file. The perform the checking process to find any violation. Standard file configuration, linking the WS to the drawing file. Make the link to the following steps to open the desired drawing file with a B check. Check with the managing, use the manage tab to locate with the CAD standard panel, then select the configuration button. Command standards. So you'll see the following dialog box. Show standards and plugins. I think it says since plus sign button with a link with the drawing with the desired DWS. Click this button, the link of plus sign. You now see a normal file dialog box DWS file. Click OK. Control the check for with the plugs in tab. Following will appear. As said before, AutoCAD can check for things with only the dimension, textile layers, and line types. To have the control over the process of the checking, click with the setting button and file with the dialog box will appear. CAD standards. Notification settings. Disable standard notifications. Disable alert with a standard violation. Disable standard status bar icon. Check standard setting. Automatically fix non-standard property. Show with ignored problems. Perform standards file with a replacement and draw pull down menu. OK, cancel or help. Control the notification settings. Select one of the following. Disable the standard notification. Display with the alt alert upon standard violation. This is when you're still working with the drawing file. Display standard status bar icon default. Show the associated standard file icon. Control check standards by checking one of the following: automatically non-standard properties or not. Show ignore problems or not. Choose the preferred DWS file. Checking the drawing file. First step should be to open the desired drawing file, but you want to check with the standard complying with the go-to. Then locate with the CAD standard panel, but then select the check button. And that command is check standards. You'll see the following dialog box: check standards replace with layer standard file, private review, changes, properties, current value, standard value. Mark this problem, ignore, fix, next, settings, close, or help. You can see that the dialog box is cut into three parts, which are problem selection. AutoCAD will show that the problem violates the standard, and below the example, the name of the layer of the drawing file is not in the standard file. Replace with a section where AutoCAD will propose to replace with a mistake with something already with the standard file below the example. The design mention layer will replace with the A dimension layer, but in this case, the AutoCAD will remove the old layer and transfer all of the objects into the new layer. Previous changes with the AutoCAD will show the change between the old and new suggestions below. With the example beside the color, the name and the color also will change. AutoCAD will offer three ways to deal with the problem. To fix the problem, will use the replace with the option. Next, skip the problem, go to the next problem. Ignore this problem, go to the next problem. When this command is finished, it will show the following message: check standard with the check complete. The user can choose to go to approach another approach to the link the WS file with the undeveloped drawing file with the means for the will make with any of the dimension textile layers. Instant message lower right will appear with something like the following: standard violation. Has occurred. Run check standards. View all standard violations of current drawing. If you click with the run check standard hyperlink end of the bubble, this will take with you directly the same dialog mentioned above. And then show the practice using Layer Translator. Layer Translator is a tool that will help you translate the file's layer system with the layering system with the following steps. Open the desired drawing file, link it to the file of the drawing file, WSDWT. Holding layer system, using layer translate layers, name, color, line type, etc. Save the translation in a file so you can use it for other files. Issue the command manage tab, locate with the CAD standard panel, then select layer translator, or lay TRANS is the command. You'll see the following dialog box. At the top left, you'll see with the translate from list to contain the list of the layers that needed to be translated to the layering system. Translate to the list is empty with due to the delay of the back of your file. To load the file, click load button. You can have a drawing DWT or DWS files loaded. This is what you'll see after the load. Find the common layers between the two files with the map the same button. In the middle, you'll go to something like this. Whatever is left of the translate form with the layer that don't match for this file, select one over the layer. Translate form, select one over the translate, then click the map button. Keep doing it until you finish all the layers. You can also leave some of the layers without matching, which means the layers will be left in the file without changing. Use the save button to save the translation for future use. To manipulate the process, click setting buttons and you'll see the following dialog box. Settings, force, object color, line type, to object transparency, translate object to blocks. Wide transaction log, show layer contents when selected. All settings are self-explanatory. Finally, finalize with the command click with the translate button, perform the translation process. Then it goes into practice. 24.5 Dealing with layer properties managers. AutoCAD handle all necessary with the tools with the create with the layer properties manager palette. With the issue with the command go to the home tab, layers panel, then select the layer panel's property. So you can implement the layer properties manual by typing the command layer, and you'll see the following steps as in current filters, total number of the layers, and all invert filter. Note the three arrows identify the three parts of the palette. Total number of layers will show the unused layers in the current drawing. Current layers, current filters. By default, you see the single filter, which is all used layers, which will show only the used layers. An invert filter will show the inverse of the current filter. While the palette is open, you can do any of all of the following. Hide unneeded column. Simply right-click on one of the columns menu. Will appear with the display of the column. Have the check mark at the left. So hide any of the columns and click with the name. Displayed and hidden column. This sort of layer is based on the column either with ascending, descending. Simply shift the title of the column arrow will appear that will point upward with the meaning of the ascending. If you point downward, it means descending. Relocate column position column pairing with the other columns using the drag and drop technique. Change column width with the freeze or unfreeze column. By right-clicking the heading of the column file, the menu will appear at the bottom of the bar where 6 command maximize all of the columns showing head with the contents, whichever the larger maximize column, the one you right-click. Optimize all of the columns, show the contents, ignore the heading, optimize column, freeze, unfreeze column, which means the horizontal scroll of the column will always be shown. Finally, can restore all of the columns to default. Just maximize all columns, maximize column, optimize all column, optimize column, unfreeze column, restore all columns default. 24.6 Creating Property Filter. With the complexity of today's drawings, you will expect with the enormous number of layers in a single drawing, AutoCAD offers the ability to create a filter to show them one of the layers based on a single property or more. Start the Layers Property Manager, then click the New Property Filter button, or Alt-P. You'll see the following dialog box. Do the following steps. Type the name of the filter up and under the filter definition field, the button below to input with one of the criteria more. In the below example, you have the two criteria: the A dash wildcard in color equal the cyan. Automatically, AutoCAD will show the layers which satisfy the criteria. In our example, there are only 4 layers. When you click OK with the Go Back Layer Property Manager, you'll see that left side of the new property filter is added just like the following. At the lower left-hand corner, you see the following: cyan layer, 4 layers displayed, 54 total layers. At the same time, layers in the list layer panel will show only the layers filters. Alright, creating a group filter. A group filter is a group of layers which have nothing in common, but for one reason or another you want to put them together. Layers Properties Manager, and click the New Group Filter button. New filter will be added with the type of the desired name. Initially, when the filter is empty, click with all filter, then use the drag and drop technique with the desired layer. 24.8 Things you can do with the filters. One advantage of filters show some of the layers to hide some of them, but they are benefits beyond with a single advantage. Autocad will allow you to collect the action on all filters in one shot. When you right-click the filter, a special menu will appear on each type. Property filter menu. Right-click the property filter, you'll see the following menu. Visibility lock, viewport, isolate group, new property filter, the new group filter, convert group filter, rename, delete, and properties. Do all of the following. Change the visibility of the layers, turn them on and off the rezone and follow them, lock, unlock layers. If you lay out, you can choose the freeze or thaw layers in the current viewport. If you're in the layout, you can choose to isolate the layers in all viewports, activate viewport, only create a new property with group filter, convert property filter to group filter, rename, delete group property filter. Change criteria for the filter using selecting property for the option will show you the same dialog box in which you created the property filter. The group filter menu with the right click of the group filter, you see the following menu. Visibility lock, viewport, isolate group, new property filter, new group filter, convert group filter, rename, delete, and select layers. Almost all of the options discover the property file menu except this instead of having the properties option, select layers option. You can see in the following sub menu. Select layers and it has a sub menu, add and replace. The option to add and replace more layers with a grouping filter. Use the normal selecting method. You will see the following prompt. Add layers of selected objects to filter. Click with the desired object layer containing the object will be added with the group of the filter, and then it goes into a practice. 24.9 creating layer states. Layer states you the shape of the retrieve of the set layer for the current setting of the color, line type, line weight, on, off, freeze, thaw, etc. If the user saved a certain state, retrieving it will leave the retrieving all state of the layer in one shot, having saving lots of the time. The multiple ways to use the feature. Make sure the layer state manager is displayed. Click the layer state manager button. We're using the layer panel with the first click of the new layer state button. So now we've went to the new layer manage layer states, which is either way, the following dialog box will appear. The layer states namespace with the essay description, new, edit, save, edit, rename, delete, import, don't list the state with the external references, restore options, and current layer state. Create new layer state, create that, and click the new button. You will see the following dialog box. You'll see the new layer state, save with the new layer state name, the description. You should input with the name of the new layer state with a good description for the content. Click with the OK button. Current state of layers will be saved. To see what properties are saved, click the arrow low right corner of the dialog box. You'll see something like the following. You can save the AutoCAD, save all the layer properties. Click the edit button. You'll have the choice for the alter of the shape of the layers and save the layer state. But you'll see something like the following. The rest of the keys are self-explanatory. Retrieve the layer state. You keep the restore with the button. Layer state manager. You can also use the first line in layers panel, and then it goes into a practice. Alright, setting dialog box. The setting dialog box will control three things related to the layers. What to do when the new layer will add with the setting of the isolated layer. Some of the dialog box settings display with the dialog box. Make sure for the layer property manager the display with the click setting button. You'll see the dialog box. If you go in the settings and let layer setting, new layer notification, evaluate new layers, add drawing, evaluate new external reference layers, evaluate all new layers, notify with new layers present, open act hatch, reload external restore layer state, save, insert, display alert with apply with new layers present, insert layer, isolate layer, setting layers not isolated, lock and fade, off, paper source, viewport, off, visual, viewport freeze, dialog with settings, apply with the layer filter with the toolbar, indicate use and viewport, override background color. As you can see, there are three parts of the dialog box: new layer notification, isolate layer setting, dialog setting, new layer notification. In this part, AutoCAD wants you to know whether to inform you with a new layer was added. Check with the following. Control any and all of the following settings. If you want to notify with a new layer, show the AutoCAD evaluate all layers on the only external references layers. When notification should take place, the open file, save the file attached, reloading the file, insert the file, and other flows for the restore of the layer state. Should AutoCAD display an alert for the plot with the new layers are present. 24.10.2 for the isolate the settings. When you either isolate with the command layers, if you have the AutoCAD treat with the layer, for the not isolate with the two choice, either lock or fade, the use should be the control and the fading percent. With the not isolated, the layers should be turned off. If so, the user should turn them off with the layers viewport with the viewport freeze. Check the following. Just isolate layer setting layers, locate, lock and fade off in paper source with the view off the viewport freeze. Dialog settings 24.10.3 dialog settings. In this part, you give the AutoCAD how to deal with some of the issues related with the layers. Dialog settings apply the layer filter, layer toolbar, indicate layers in the use view, override background color. Control the flying, applying filter to the layer toolbar, and not indicate layers in use. If the layers override setting the viewport, Autocad will distinguish it from the other view for the given the background layer. Property manager set the color. Not now that it will happen, the new layer will enter the drawing. Autocad will show the bubble with the following, telling you that the new layer was found. You need to reconcile it, unconcile with the new layers. New layers were found that need to be reconciled. In the layers property manager of the filters, you'll see the following filters, and it says all you the architectural unreconciled new layer, new filter unreconciled new layers will contain all the new layers, whether they appear with a right click with the choose the reconcilable layer option to accept. New layers, delete layers to reject for these layers, and right clicking you see the show filters, set current new layer, rename layer, delete layer, reconcile layer. Shows practice, notes, chapter review answers, and now we're on the last chapter 25, importing PDF files and design views.